Friends, good morning. I'm very happy to welcome you all to another webinar of Nectar 2020. As you all know, we have already inaugurated Nectar 2020 and we are so overwhelmed here at Team Nectar. Is really joyful to see that we have received around 82 papers from 110 authors. Thank you, authors. We wish you all the very best. Let your research journey continue in the same pace. All the very best. Friends, in the webinar, we try to discuss various issues and various expectations of this world, linking with technologies. See, after all, Nectar is an electronic conference which concentrates on the centralized theme called technology and exiting reality. So, we will be discussing various issues connected with common man, society, technology, and of course, yes, this COVID lockdown period, how exactly this digitalization is going to overcome the common problems of a common man. So fine, we have today with us Mithun Hariharan from Verizon Technologies, Netherlands. Mithun is a high-end techie with over 15 plus years in project management, and he's also a part of, he's a co-founder of a musical group also. I'm personally very happy to host Mithun Hariharan in this wonderful stage of Nectar, because I know Mithun Hariharan. He's a long-time friend of mine. We were together for our UG program. Mithun, welcome to Nectar 2020 once again, because you gave us a wonderful inaugural address. Thank you for that. And once again, welcoming you back to this webinar program. Today, I'll ask you a very few questions, of which you can answer me online. See, even though COVID-19 pandemic is disturbing us a lot, the human race is trying to overcome this. And technology is one such wonderful way to overcome all these issues. Today we are able to communicate online. See, I'm one of the very simple aspect of technology, or one of the very simple merit of technology itself. This interview itself is one of the such of a merit, because I'm able to ask you questions right here from India, my village, and you're able to answer me online from your place, Netherlands. So Mithun, let me come to that point. I'll raise you the very first question. What, according to you, is the role of technology in a common man's life? What are the merits and demerits? How does a common man tackle with technology in a better sense? Please, Mithun, over to you.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Sudeer S, marar, as well as the students of Nehru College. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of this wonderful initiative. I picked up a keyword, village. Think villages, that's where the true heart of India belongs to. And you know, I'm proud to say that I come from a village. As you said, you are able to talk to me or communicate with me distantly from a village. How is this kind of helping a common man? Well, you know, we have seen one of the greatest revolution in these years, mobile phones, smartphones, let's say, that has kind of literally transformed a common man's life. You can, you know, look at the traffic while you're traveling, order food, pay bills. You know, there are quite some things that's possible using a mobile phone, having a video call and so on. But then, you know, clearly, I think I don't need to explain further about the usage of smartphones. But, you know, leaving that aside, if we look at technology, let's take an example, solar energy. You know, we have seen these days solar water heaters, solar panels, we're able to produce electricity out of solar. So that's definitely a growth in technology. You know, other than that, another example, the traffic signals where it can detect movements then speed breakers or speed cameras. Those are some of the things that are done for enforcing law and regulation, and that's also for the safety of the common people as well, right? If you travel from, for example, from Palakkad to Cochin, definitely in the highways, you have speeding cameras that are capable of taking pictures and sending you a fine. Clearly, no one likes it, but then, as a common man, if that's one of the ways that the government ensures safety for the people. It creates awareness. Hey, there is a speeding camera. I should not be speeding. So that kind of, let's say, transforms, or you are bound to follow certain rules, and there is a part, the technology that helps, either by kind of forcing you to do it, or there are also other ways. Nowadays, in navigation systems, it kind of alerts you, when you exceed a certain speed limit. So clearly, that's one use of technology. And when it comes to a common man, when we live in our cities and villages, let's take an example. Indian Railways. If you want to book a ticket, you don't need to go really stand in a queue. You can just go to the CTC site, and then you can just book the tickets there. Of course, it needs you need to know the basics, but that's a different thing. But then this helps you save time. Even booking for movies, I think these days that has changed. Now, other than that, if you look at some of the life support systems, let's say companies like Philips and so on, they've kind of advanced a lot. It literally helps the doctors in detecting things. Some of the common examples, nowadays, the smartwatches, of course, it can track the heartbeat, even the blood sugar levels, or all those things, and it can alert people, and it can help you kind of, motivate. That you got to do some exercises, at least do some walkings and so on. So those are some of the things that I'm seeing. I'm taking an example, during COVID times. Now, this is probably, there are negative and positive aspects of it. So we have seen quite some positive things, and there are negative things as well. Clearly, technology helps in improving communications, or it helps you process the information and reach everyone's hands quickly at the right time. During COVID times, it definitely helps you, keep you informed by saying, hey, these are the locations that have quite some impact. These are the do's and don'ts and all those things. But on the other hand, I don't want to really focus on the negative aspects as such, because, if you look at the overall positive things, probably only 10% of the things that you see and hear are the negative ones. Obviously, the media has a different role, that's a different thing. But then there could be, incorrect information that can trigger some negative consequences. False information being circulated in WhatsApp or in Facebook or in Twitter or in Instagram, whatever it is, yes, it does have an impact. It does have a negative impact to it. And that's up to the common man to understand, to make that judgment call. This is not coming from a reliable source. So I think pretty much, I think if you look at from that perspective, our life have transformed by using the technology and the revolution that it has brought in our daily lives.
Okay, Mithun, definitely yes, I can understand you. What you said is exactly right. Sure, definitely a common man should tackle technology in a much better way. Now, my second question is, does technology affect the way the society progress? See, society is a collection of common man. Society is a collection of various things, various concepts. So, how does technology affect this society's thought process? That is my question in specific. Please, Mithun.
Okay, how do I say this? Indeed, it does affect. That would be a one word tweet or one line tweet. But if we analyze it further, clearly, with the help of technology, the quality of lifestyle. I'm trying to be really specific here. Lifestyle, not life as such. The quality of lifestyle has improved. That's for sure. You have the liberty of having access to a vast amount of technologies. iPhone, iPads, electric heaters, solar lamps, automated systems, everything. Of course, if you look at the IT revolution as such, you do have quite some fast processing environments, cloud, and all those things. And clearly, technology is supposed to make our lives better. No doubt about it. And clearly, when you look at the household items as well, you probably will see electric cookers where you can use timers to cook and to what amount it has to cook and all those things. Yes, you'll see all those things. And from that perspective, yes. And how does definitely the thought process, technology has to trigger certain things, and having access to technology and able to use it wisely or able to use it on a timely manner, that's the most important thing. Let's take an example. A person who is feeling quite uneasy in the process of getting a cardiac arrest or something, and he has only a mobile phone. Well, he knows that he can call, the emergency number to call an ambulance or something. The person must react on it if he's able to, obviously. But clearly, if he's not able to move, but then he's able to look at the phone and do a few things, yes, he should be able to do that. Also, I think, if I rewind back a few years, like the early 2000s or 2010 onwards, I've seen in our country people trying to buy the best smartphone that they could afford and they could buy. And of course, they don't know what features they are getting. One such example, Google Maps. So when we have to go to some place, an unknown place, you basically, ask people and go. In my language, choi choi chibo. So that's a way how people used to. But then when you have a Google Map, you don't need to do this process, asking each and everyone. All you have to do is put that address and just, it will navigate you. So that the person having the smartphone, he should be able to kind of able to use it. That's one example. And the next thing, so he should be able to think, oh yeah, I should be able to do some things like this. I could exploit my device to help me guide to reach somewhere. Another example, booking a ticket or ordering something. I'll give an example. I come from an agricultural family, so they're not exposed to vast technologies. So, but somewhere in their mind, they know that, hey, I can order stuff from Amazon or Flipkart. So my mom or dad, they'll call me and tell me, hey, is this possible that you can kind of look at Amazon and see if such a thing is there? Oh yeah, obviously, that's possible. So smart TVs at this stage here, you can watch YouTube and all those things. You can actually cast it from your phone to the TV using a Chrome device. So Chromecast basically. Yeah. So indeed, having access to technology, that's one thing, and able to think and see if you can use it and able to use it at the right moment. That is what matters, and clearly society and people need to be enlightened, or they need to be demoed or shown as an example. Hey, this is how you use it. And then it's up to everyone's intelligence that, try to be smart and try to use whenever it is required, of course, in a positive way.
You are right. Definitely is. Thank you. My third question, before I go to the third question, let us be a bit personal. I'm so happy once again, as I told you in the introduction, I'm very happy that I'm able to host you here in Nectar platform. You are known to me since 1998, right? That's when we did our UG program in CMS College, Coimbatore. During school days, I remember you as a very interesting student. You were a very good student who was strong in academics. Not that you were a bookish person, rather you were always concerned about electronic gadgets, creating small circuits or something like that. Hope you remember, we created the first FM station of CMS College. Myself, yourself, and Babu also was there with us. That was inside a soap box. We brought certain devices from this Ukada market, and we created a FM radio station that was inside a soap box using. We got the algorithms from Electronics for You, I think. EFY was one of the best magazines that we could refer by that time. Anyway, you were a wonderful student. At the same time, you were a passionate footballer. Moreover, you were too good in music, dance, and such kind of things. So, my question is, how do you take your technology journey along with your passion for music?
Wow. Thanks for, taking me to those old nostalgic moments during our hostel days. I'm pretty sure there are quite some interesting ones that you could share with the students, but in a separate venue probably, obviously. How do I start with this? The journey of me, a village guy, basically, from 1998 onwards till now, it has been amazing, and I would say I did exploit technology. Now that music part, obviously, like anyone, I was just only a listener to songs or listener to music during those times. I started taking music seriously only when I was 31 years old. So that's where I started to, go for Carnatic vocal lessons here in Netherlands. And then just before that, I realized, I could sing. And then I want to kind of, be better at singing. So in order to understand or capture my voice clearly, I started buying a recording microphone and basically ended up building a home studio where I could actually produce music for compose a complete background score for movies or for whatever it may be. So yes, that's the end result. But during that process, indeed, I did use technology a lot. Clearly, start with building a recording setup at home. It's not an easy one. I did build a vocal booth with noise isolation, and when I started going behind it, some of my family and friends who knows music better than me, obviously, they did ask me to start learning keyboard. Because clearly keyboard, that's an instrument where you could sample several things. You could play a flute on keyboard. You could produce that sound. You could play violin or strings or whatever, other than piano sound. But then obviously it will not be close to the original one. But when you compose the music, you could kind of feel it. Oh yeah, this is how it sounds like when you replace an instrument with a violin or a bansuri or flute, whatever it may be. So you should be able to experiment it, and then at a later stage you can include the real equipment, record the real equipment. So from that perspective, I would say technology has helped me a lot. And also, just giving an example, how many of you have heard about noise cancelling microphones or noise cancelling headsets? You probably might have heard about Bose and various other things where you wear it and then it literally cancels the noise for you as a listener. But when you think about the technology, it's amazing. But have you ever tried to take a phone call with some of those devices? Some of them don't cancel that noise. Only for you, yes, you will be able to hear it better. For the other party, it kind of, I would say, they wouldn't be able to hear you better if there is quite some background noise. But there are devices like Plantronics or Jabra, which are really specific for office purpose. It actually cancels the noise for you as well as to the listener. So, when I'm in the car, no one knows that I'm in the car because the microphone cancels the noise, and it gives a very good feeling to the listener, to the audience, basically, when I talk. So I've kind of, that's one of the practical example. When you come to music, see, there are quite some technologies that during the COVID times, we recorded a whole recreated Milesur Mera Tumara, for example, recently, due to the request of Indian Embassy and the ambassador. So we thought of doing something, and we recorded the entire piece from homes, and we canceled the noise, and we tried to, make it realistic, sound realistic, as if it's a studio recording. So for that purpose, yes, we have used exploited technology, let's say, made good use of it, I would say. Indeed, in this journey, I've learned a lot. I think that's one of the important things that I've understood. Never stop learning.
Yes, Mithun, you are right. Life is totally a collection of various things. We should be able to take them together. So Mithun, definitely you are a wonderful example, and I hope that my students will get inspired from you. Mithun, my next question, rather that is a very simple question that any teacher should ask. See, as a teacher, I am very much concerned about my students. And you as a technocrat, what is your basic advice that you would like to give, or what is your message that you would like to convey to a budding engineers of an engineering college?
I must say that I'm really jealous that you are still with the young community, able to inspire them, able to shape their future by triggering their thoughts to challenge themselves and to perform better. From that perspective, I'm really jealous that you're still with young minds, and you are young still from that perspective. I don't want to say this as an advice, but I would like to share my views or a suggestion, and obviously as a student or as a human being, feel free to take the positive aspects of it. One thing I would say is, follow your passion. If you want to be an engineer, yes, go ahead for it. But if you want to be a doctor, or if you want to do a social service, yes, I think that should be the line that you should be choosing. And and another aspect to that is try to be practical. If this is the path that you're going to choose, stick to it. And clearly, there are also some social needs and family needs, and that is also something which is the practical part which I want you all to consider. Of course, everyone needs a job to sustain yourself and your family. That is one thing. For example, if you ask me, hey, yeah, of course, music is my passion, but then that does not mean that I have to quit my job and go ahead with music and try to build a career there. It is definitely, there are quite some things you might need to compromise. You probably won't be able to support the family until you achieve success, and you got to be practical about it. Can we do that? Whatever you see in movies, yeah, there is a little bit of reality, but then most of the things, what you see in movies or in stories might be very difficult to achieve. But I'm not saying it is impossible, but then be practical on that aspect. And the next thing is, whatever your goal is, you need to have certain actions against it to achieve to that point. And whatever you do, it has to be on an outcome-based thing. So, yeah, that would be, my guiding factors. And also, I would say, be a good citizen to the society.
Sure, Mithun, you are right. I think that your words of inspiration and your experience, that should definitely motivate my students. Dear students who are listening to this interview, kindly take Mithun sir as a good example and kindly take good things from his life. Thank you, Mithun. Now, coming to the last question. I know that this is a very short talk actually. So, I'm coming to my last and final question. Mithun, Nectar is all about technology annexing reality. According to you, how could technology annex the reality?
Yeah, technology annexing the reality. Well, that's a much broader topic. But if you really look at it, if technology is able to save one's life or improve their lifestyle or even life by the advancements of technology, I think that's where I would say we as human beings or anyone, or you as an engineer, you have accomplished your goal if you are able to get to that point. And clearly there are plenty of examples, plenty of great people who could inspire us. They have done their hard work, and they've been smart enough to invent several things or even discover and exploit technology to improve everyone's life. I think that's all it should focus to. It should be all about improving common man's life. Technology is supposed to support life, make everyone's life easier. And from that perspective, I think clearly we have accomplished several things, but that doesn't mean that we can sit back and relax. There is definitely room for improvement, room for advancement, plenty of opportunities.
So, thank you, Mithun. Thank you for sharing your valuable time with us here in this forum called as Nectar 2020. By this, we are coming to an end to this webinar session. Thank you so much for having here with us today. On behalf of Nehru Group of Institutions, on behalf of Team Nectar, on behalf of each and every MCA student, on behalf of all the students and staff members of Nehru College of Engineering and Research Center, on behalf of the whole student community, the whole faculty community, I wish you all the very best. Have a wonderful journey. Be a wonderful techie as you always were, and always please be generous enough to continue your passion for music. God bless you. God bless your family. Thank you so much. Thank you.